5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the new Panic Room. It's the show other shows want to be, and the show that authors want to be on. The all-new Panic Room radio show is brought to you by hellboundbooks.com.
Well, good evening. It is, I don't know what it is, actually. I guess if it's the new Panic Room, episode 130, it must be a Thursday, 9:30 Central Time, and other times in other areas. I still haven't got to grips with it, to be honest with you. It doesn't matter, because time is relative. As I think I was Einstein, wasn't it? God bless him. God bless him. He's dead now, obviously, so his time got very relative, I suppose. So, hey, it is the new Panic Room, and it seems like it's like 2 days ago we did all this, and the song there, Baggy Trousers by Madness, it takes me right back to, I think I was early 80s, it must have been late 70s, early 80s, back in the good old days of high school. We used to listen to that down the school discotheque, back in CC said, sounding incredibly old. Speaking of old things, Xtina, how are you this evening, my dear?
You know, I am much better than I was last.
Feel free to join in. Feel free to join in. If you want, it's up to you.
I'm much better than I was last week. And I was going to say the intro, I used to cringe when it would start playing, but I just sit back and smile now. You know, there's no cringing anymore.
It's just, I mean, I'm afraid it is just totally your intro now.
It is, yeah.
In a way, I'm a little bit jealous. I need to, I want one too.
You do, you need one. Yeah, you definitely need one. I should start introducing you from now on. Yeah, and here's James.
You should do. Yeah, well, I think I had God Save the Queen, but it goes on a bit, to be honest with you. So
yeah.
There's like 40 minutes of it, you know, it's just a bit long. But so how are you, my dear? You're feeling... We've both been sort of poorly this past week because I don't go on about it like you do. I've not sort of made a big drama out of it. I've just sort of suffered in silence and got on with it.
Yeah,
You've just been you strung it out for like 4 weeks and just never shut up about it. So
well, I was
hopefully you're feeling better.
Yeah, no, I was sick last month, and then I was sick again this month. And, you know, to me, that was just way too much sickness. So I couldn't
milking it. That's what it is, milking it.
Even I was like, I can't believe I'm so sick again. And no, I'm feeling much better. I'm still not, not 100% yet, but way better than I was.
To be honest, you never are really, are you?
Yeah, well, it depends on, what is that picture I throw up every so often. Some people are, daytime people, some people are nighttime. I'm more of a like 2:15 to, whatever. So
2:30. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's it. I mean, you wake up really just in time to have your nap. You wake up just in time for your afternoon nap, which is nice. We have a pygmy hedgehog which is nocturnal, and I think he sees more daylight than you. In fact, my daughter's ferret, they sleep 18 hours a day, which means the ferret puts in more time awake than you do. So
probably, yeah.
There is that. But so I'm gonna hit this button and put you on.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So what is new, pussycat?
I got nothing. I got nothing. I don't. No. What is new?
I was hoping you'd know. It's that odd time of year where it's sort of a bit wishy-washy, I find. I mean, January's been and gone now, which was good because we got to the end of January and, we had a little bit of money in the bank. We survived it. I having to explain to the kids that why we couldn't have this, we couldn't have that because it's not. Why do you have to wait to the end of the month, Daddy? Well, because we got no fucking money. We just spent it all at Christmas. That's why, bucko. So that was nice. I mean, Hellbound wise, I mean, I think we had another. Did we not launch another audiobook this last month, or did I just totally just make that up?
No, I think we did. I'm trying to think of which one it was, and it escapes me right now. But we have a couple more that I think Amnesia Girl will be soon.
I'm looking forward to Amnesia Girl and audio. Savages as well will be. That's just in the final review stages now, and we've got a few coming through. So that's exciting. We have 2 new books out at the end of this month. We have, I'm going to put myself on the spot here now, Deadly Nightshade by Jason Paul, and we have The Other Side of the Mirror by Lex H. Jones, both of which are tremendous novels, absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant stuff.
The Other Side of the Mirror, that one, you know what, there was a plot twist in that one that threw me. I mean, throughout the whole book, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know what's going on. And to me, it was even a little, I just knew it. Like, it was just, I just know what's going to happen. And then when it was just something that totally blew my mind. And I think I was even talking out loud as I'm reading it. I'm going, no. And that was great to me because it really created a reaction because I just did not see it. Brilliant.
Yeah, Lex is good at that. He leads you up a garden path and then literally off and then, whoa! Yeah. And speaking of which, actually, I just finished binge watching You, the Netflix 10-parter. Have you seen it?
No, I read the book, but and I want to see
well,
it.
then you know. I mean, wow, what I did not see that twist coming. I mean, it just literally the last minute was like, whoa, that's not how I anticipated that finishing. It was, the whole thing was incredibly well done. I absolutely adored it.
The book was amazing. You have to read the book because it's written in second person, which you don't see all the time. And I don't know, I was captivated by the very first sentence, and I thought it was great writing and just such a unique story.
Yeah,
I thought
it was the whole thing. I enjoyed it. The acting was good. The writing was excellent. You know, some of the best I've seen for a while actually. So, but of course now I've finished it. I got to that point. I finished. I was like, I actually put off watching the last episode because I thought, well, that's it, you know, what's next? And it's like, but I did, so I'm looking for something else to binge watch now.
We started on the second season of The Handmaid's Tale, and the first season was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I just finished it, yeah.
The second season is as good. I mean, it doesn't lose its momentum. Yeah, awesome. You will enjoy it. It gets a bit more involved, but it's good. Yeah, the whole thing is. Again, I hope there's a third season. I really do, because I thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah. And
I'm getting excited. Game of Thrones is going to be I think it's the final season coming up.
It is the final season, and you know, I watched the first episode many moons ago, and people keep saying you've got to watch it. Somebody's even offered to watch it with me, and I thought, well, you know, I don't know. I'd be prepared to. I think I should give it a chance because it's like Breaking Bad. Everybody say you've got to see Breaking Bad. You've got to. And I didn't for a long time. And I thought, well, enough people have said it. I'm going to watch it, and it was like blew me away. So I think I should give Game of Thrones another chance. I think it's just finding the time. Well, I find the time. I find the time to watch 10 episodes of You, so I could find the time if I chose to.
Now, see, a lot of people, the boyfriend, he said, you know, you got to watch a couple of episodes before it really, you know, gets you or whatever. But for me, the very first episode, I loved the scenery. I thought it was beautiful. I really did. And, you know, I like the cold and the snow anyway. So, but when I finished everything that, you know, like all the seasons that were out, I did not want to leave the world, so I started watching it all over. Awesome. Yeah, it really it sucked me right in. It did. I thought it was great. So I can't wait for the new season to come out.
And then you'll be all sad.
I know. I will.
When it's finished, you know, it's.
That's true.
I mean, that is the mark. Of course, it's a year of final. I mean, Big Bang Theory finishes this year as well.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah. I have to catch up on that.
To be fair, I'm not that gutted, to be honest with you. I think once they started, you know, they started hooking them up with getting married and girlfriends and shit. It took away a lot of the humor. A lot of the nerd humor was that they couldn't get girls, you know, and suddenly Leonard's married and Sheldon's getting married. So, spoiler alert. And it's just like, you know, Howard's married and he's having kids, and it's like, no, it's not. He's turned it. Okay, it has evolved, but I think the core humor is no longer there. So I think they're doing the right thing in. Having said that, the spin-off Young Sheldon, I find really good. I really enjoy that.
Really, I have not. I haven't seen that, and maybe I should give it a shot.
It's a different kind of humor, but it is fun. It's good. You know, I would recommend it. Anywho, we could blather on all. How do we find times in our hectic schedules to watch TV? One wonders. One wonders.
I know.
So, do we have a show this evening, Xtina? I don't know. You can vouch. I've literally just sat down. I've just put my daughter to bed. I literally just sat down. We had a bit of a ferret-related incident to deal with. So, she was having a run around. She crapped in the corner by the sink and refused to come out from under the bed to go to bed. So it's just like we had to play hunt the ferret for a bit. But these things happen, obviously, in every household. So what have we got? What have we got in store for our listener this evening?
This evening, I'm excited. We have best-selling author of the Dark Road series, Bruno Miller. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. Was I?
Anything else? Is that it? No. You'd think after 129 shows, you'd have got this by now. You would have thought so.
Do it different every time. Like sometimes I announce both of them, and then we go right to the first guest. So do I introduce the next?
I'm just keeping you on your toes. It's what I do best.
Okay, let me start over. Tonight we have best-selling author of the Dark Road series, Bruno Miller.
We can fix this in post. Don't worry, we'll be good.
We'll
be good. I'll fix it in post. No, I'm saying we could, but I'm not going to.
And we have horror author Bailey Day on the show. Yay!
Right. Hey, woo! And okay, so let's introduce that first guest. Now we do this, you see. Now, if we rehearsed, we'd know this, but obviously, we don't. Because we like spontaneity, I think. Or we just can't be asked. One of the two. So, who we got first, Xtina?
First, we have best-selling author of the Dark Road series, Bruno Miller.
Bruno, are you there, sir?
I'm here.
Hello. I have to apologise for Xtina. I mean, like you say, we've been doing this. This is our fourth year, I think now, and I thought she'd have got it by now. But so I apologise for the painful intro. But it's wonderful to have you joining us. Thank you for agreeing to come on the show.
Well, thanks for having me on.
And it's best-selling author of what? Of the series. Yeah, you're here to talk about your book, Breakdown, with a tagline, Do you have what it takes to survive? I don't know that I do, to be honest with you. Xtina certainly doesn't. I mean, come the apocalypse, there'll be the first bit of a sniffle, and she's just going to roll over and just give up. So, so there's that. So, hey, Bruno, tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, it's a book that takes a group of people on a cross-country road trip after an EMP attack on the United States. And it's a 5-book series. It's kind of wrapped up right now. I've started on a new series, but I will come back to this at some point and continue the journey. The main character is Ben Davis and his son Joel, and they end up traveling across country to get to his family on the other side of the country. From Colorado to the East Coast, they travel.
Awesome. So it's a sort of a post-apocalyptic tale.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, it is.
I have to ask: are there zombies in it?
There are no zombies.
Good. No, I am so zombied out. No, not at all. That's if it had to been, I wouldn't have bothered. In fact, I was just reading an article yesterday. Funny enough, they have officially scrapped the sequel to World War Z.
I did see that.
I think Fincher was set to direct it, but I think budgetary restraints and one thing. I think, to be fair, I think people are zombied out. I think that's the issue.
I kind of feel that way myself.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of zombie. One of my favourite films of all time is the original Dawn of the Dead. I remember seeing that in the movies when it first came. That's how old I am, and it's still. I mean, the remake was okay, but that first one was brilliant. But there's just we've Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead are back again and hey, it's the Walking Dead. I just, seriously, enough already. But so who are the bad guys in Breakdown?
Well, the bad guys are the other people out there trying to survive and maybe going about it in not necessarily some of the nicest ways. People become desperate in dire times, and those are who they have to, make their way through and navigate this crazy world that they're thrust into. But when I write these books, I try to keep them realistic in a sense that everything in the book could actually happen. So nothing supernatural or anything like that. Just trying to base it on a possible scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's good. I mean, I do like the supernatural and that sort of. But I've said this before. I mean, a lot of the true horror is in. Yeah, this could happen. And I mean, society as it. I mean, you mentioned obviously EMPs, and I mean, there's a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about imminent solar flare that could knock out satellites and a lot of electronic stuff. As a society, as a civilization, we are only one EMP away from total anarchy, to be honest.
Yeah.
You take away electronics and all that, I'd knock out the satellites. I'd be lost for a start without my GPS. I just probably couldn't make it to the bathroom these days. But it's scary that, you start thinking seriously, well, I need to make sure, we've got plenty of ammunition in, and maybe buy another shotgun and keep that somewhere handy. It's just for when the marauders come trying to take my tin food. And it's that I like books that skirt closely. I mean, we often mention King on this show, Stephen King. I think The Stand, is okay. He gets towards the supernatural, but the basic premise of civilization being all but wiped out because of the dose of the flu, that is closer than we think. I mean, they're avian flu and swine flu, and all it takes is something that's a little bit more virulent, and that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of Stephen King, has anyone seen the trailer that they have out for the remake of Pet Sematary?
I've seen it. Have you seen the second trailer? The second trailer dropped today, and what have they done? What have they done to it? Seriously, they have. I don't know. They've done something. It's not Pet Sematary. They've got weird.
Yeah. I read an article of the director or writer or whoever of the remake is talking about, in the first movie, Gage was a little, a lot of times I guess Gage was a doll, they said, and they're like, that was already done before with child's play. And I'm thinking that.
Gage wasn't a doll. Gage was a toddler.
I know.
That's the whole point.
That's what this article was saying, that they felt like that had been done before because of child's play. I'm like, I don't get that.
Sorry, the guy who wrote and directed the remake has said, I think this has been done before. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a remake.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point of a remake, matey.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it looks very much like they're just trading off the name, and it looks like the first trailer looked like they stuck pretty faithfully, but the second one, it's just like they've just gone off at a complete tangent.
What is this? Yeah, you know what? The masks. Did you see the masks that the children were wearing? That was creepy, though. I will say that's creepy.
Oh, I will go see it. I will definitely go see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I read the book, and in watching the movie, the original, it stuck pretty close to the book. So
it did. Yes, it did. I think the book came out when I was, I think at university, and I think it's one of those, that and Firestarter. I'd actually sat and read. I just stuck to my bed and just stayed in bed in my student digs and sat and read it cover to cover. And I think Pet Sematary's got to be one of my favourite. Between that and Salem's Lot, my favourite King books. But are you a Stephen King fan, Bruno? Or are we just boring you with talk of Stephen King?
No. Yeah, I am. Usually, though, when I hear of a remake, my interest wanes. I'm not big on the remakes. It seems to be a popular thing to do, and sometimes they don't do them justice. So, what's your favourite Stephen King? I mean, I would guess the Dark Tower series for you. But I like Pet Sematary. I guess that was probably one of the first books I read, and then maybe followed it up with the movie, and that stands out from my childhood probably.
I think, I've said over and over, my favorite is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, but I think the second one would have been Gerald's Game. I loved that book. That was so, I loved it. And then, Yeah, and then what was it on Netflix? The Netflix movie. I was so surprised that they did that good, because I remember when I read the book, I remember thinking, this would be cool as a movie, and then I thought, but how would they do it? Because so much of it took place in her head, so I didn't think that they would be able to do it. But
they did so well with it. Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
They did.
I have to say, I only read that on your recommendation, because I prefer, certainly with King, I prefer the supernatural stuff. So I didn't read it, and then on your recommendation, I got it and read it, and it was like, wow, this is really good. Yeah, this is really good. I mean, he went off a little bit with the mysterious figure and blah 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 blah. King being king, not knowing how to finish a book. Steve, stop there,
right,
buddy.
You're done.
It was perfect, and then you've added a couple more, 2 or 3 more chapters on which you didn't need padding.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
So other than King, Bruno, who do you read?
I enjoy Steve Kunkley. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's all over Amazon.
No.
He's got some good ones out there. Hot Zone, The Parasite Collapse. He does a lot of, his main thing is the post-apocalyptic fiction, and he's good. I like to read him a lot. A.G. Riddle is another author I enjoy reading. I like to read some history. Kind of stick to the real stuff, the realism. Like I said, not really into the supernatural kind of stuff. Not so much.
It's funny. I have when it comes to like reading, I like to say I like the stuff that I can believe. But then again, because I'll read a vampire book, I'm like, okay, I can get into the vampires. I think, I guess a part of me thinks that, vampires could exist. But then, like, to go further, I'm like, oh, werewolves? No werewolves. And,
hey, don't you go knocking werewolves, missus. Don't you dare.
I know. Although I did, I have read a couple of werewolf books that I thought were really good. But, it's funny with me when it comes to supernatural, there are certain things I'll buy into, and then there's totally other things that I'm like, no, I don't think that could ever happen. So for me, I can't read something if I really don't think it could ever happen, So I think that might have been one of the problems that I had, like the Harry Potter series. People go on and on about Harry Potter, and I just could never really get into it. And I like witches, so I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed a bit of Harry. I like a bit of Harry Potter. It's a nice bit of escapism. Nice bit of escapism.
I suppose, yeah. So I want to hear more about Breakdown. I think we have an audio clip, don't we, as far as like for an excerpt?
Do we?
Yes, you should have.
So
I think
we just. I'm just saying that to panic Xtina, because I did send it. We do have that. Do you want to give us a lead into it, Bruno, and then we'll hit the play button.
Well, we're starting at chapter 6, and this is when Ben and his son Joel are up in the San Juan Mountains camping, and the first EMPs go off.
Right, okay, and here we go.
Chapter 6. Ben wasn't sure if he was dreaming or if he'd actually heard something as he rubbed at his eyes. In fact, he thought he'd felt something, more so than he believed that he'd heard something. There it was again. He was awake, and the deep, earth-moving rumble that he heard and felt was real. Then he noticed a dim orange light filtering through the tent material, enough to cast faint shadows across things in the tent. "Hey, Joel!" Ben called out, simultaneously grabbing his shoes and unzipping his tent. Joel didn't respond. "Joel, get up! Come on, get out here!" Ben made his way to his feet slowly. He remembered sleeping on the ground used to hurt a lot less in his younger days. Squinting upward, he scanned the sky in the direction of the red-orange glow as he got his bearings and noticed that the clear night sky from earlier now seemed to be obscured by a sort of haze. "Northeast," Ben said to himself. realizing Joel hadn't answered him yet. Just then, Ben heard a zipper and turned to see Joel's head peek out from behind the tent flap. "What's going on?" Joel asked, still very much asleep, and unlike Gunnar, who was wide awake and pushed his way out of the tent past Joel through the small opening. "I'm not sure," Ben said calmly, not wanting to alarm Joel. Just then, another explosion to the south, this time much closer. Out of their tents, both of them now had a clear view. A bright orange flash overwhelmed the valley for a split second as Ben threw up his hand to cover his face from the sudden blast of light. "Don't look at it!" Ben shouted. A deep bass rumbled up the valley and momentarily canceled out all other sound, followed a few seconds later by a warm breeze, the likes of which Ben had never felt in the mountains before. The bright flash of light had diminished to a pale orange glow that seemed to be floating within a distant, massive cloud that consisted of an ominous column of fire and blackness that reached well up into the atmosphere, where it became encircled by a giant orange glowing ball of fire and smoke mixed with what seemed like lightning. They both stood there, watching in silence for what felt like an eternity before either one of them said anything. "This can't be happening," Ben thought to himself. "They actually did it." "Dad, what's going on? What is it?" Joel asked. "Son, I think we just witnessed a nuclear explosion," Ben said solemnly. "I'm just guessing, but I would say that last one was over Vegas or maybe Albuquerque, and the one before it that I caught the end of when I came out of the tent looked to be in the direction of Denver. I think they're EMPs, Joel. High-altitude nukes." He ran his hand through his slightly graying brown hair. "Well, what are we going to do?" Joel said in disbelief. "We're going to pack up our stuff and get home as quickly as possible, and then plan our next move from there," Ben said, almost machine-like. Realizing how he probably sounded to his son, he took a couple steps towards him and put his arm around Joel as he pulled him close. "We'll figure it out. We'll be all right. We have enough supplies at home to last a long time, and even more down at the store if we need them." Ben hoped he sounded reassuring to his son, because he wasn't sure he believed his own words. "Do me a favor and check your phone to see if it's working, and I'll do the same," Ben asked, hoping to distract Joel for a moment. They both went to their tents and rummaged through the packs until they found their phones. "Nothing. It's totally dead," Joel said. "Mine too. I had a feeling they wouldn't work." "Let me check the emergency two-way radio," Ben answered, as he pulled the radio from his pack that was now outside his tent. He turned the power on and began clicking through the channels. Every channel either played nothing but static or no noise at all. "Useless," Ben muttered. "But at least it's not dead like the phones," Joel said, hopefully. "Well, from what I know, simple electronics may be functional if they were off at the time of the blast, but anything made in the last decade or so with a computer chip in it will most likely be fried." Ben looked at Joel and could see a concerned, scared look on his face. "Right now, we need to stay focused. Let's get packed up and get off this mountain." Ben gave Joel his best attempt at a reassuring look and a pat on the shoulder before he began to break down his tent. "Okay," Joel said, clearly still in denial of their situation. They had their gear sorted out and packed up in about 15 minutes. During this time, they heard the occasional rumble, although they weren't sure if it was part of the bomb that they had seen just minutes ago, or if there were other bombs being detonated, only further away this time. Ben was pretty sure they were additional detonations, but didn't say anything to that effect. "You ready?" Ben asked, ignoring the distant rumbling. "Yep," Joel said quietly. "Let's try to keep a pretty good pace. Just let me know if you get tired." Ben looked at his watch. "Almost 6 a.m. We should make it to the Jeep by 7:30 or so, if we hustle." "Go as fast as you want. I'll keep up, old-timer." Joel smiled weakly, trying to make a joke as he hoisted his pack onto his shoulders and clicked the waist belt in place. Ben flashed a quick smile in Joel's direction before turning around and marching out of camp. He was glad to see a little enthusiasm in his son, and for a brief moment thought maybe they really would be okay after all. That thought was quickly replaced with thoughts of his children who were on the other side of the country in Maryland. Ben had been thinking about them off and on this morning, along with a million other things and questions he had about what was really going on all across the country right now. He just hoped Joel wasn't worried about them as much as he was. The rumbling sounds had all but stopped a couple minutes down the path, and now everything seemed eerily quiet, with only the nearby river making any noise. Gunnar was leading the hike by his usual 20 yards when he suddenly turned around. Facing Ben and Joel as they closed in on him, he seemed to be looking past them and up toward the sky. Gunnar tilted his head as a distant whining sound grew louder.
So I'm going to stop that there. That was
Sure.
wow. I was in the zone there. I could have just kept that going.
Awesome.
I liked that. That was good. That was good.
Awesome.
That was yeah, scary. And like you say, I mean, it's pretty believable.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, you know. You think when the bomb drops, you know, how do you, I think you think you would react in a certain way, but I don't know. I would imagine people would react in a completely different way than they would expect. I mean, I guess disbelief's going to be the big one. Mm-hmm. Like you're saying, they actually did they do it really? You know, certainly for those of us that have grown up, you know, I remember, you know, the Cold War and all of that, you know, and the fear was there. You know,
Sure.
It was, yeah, it's a stuff of nightmares, Bruno. I'm going to have nightmares now. Thank you.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of nightmares, you know how I watched The Walking Dead a couple nights ago. I have not seen this in a couple of years, but I watched the new one. I guess they put it out on like their, I don't know, website or something like that. Anyway, I watched the episode, and I had bad dreams that night about The Walking Dead. Like there were zombies, and I was stuck in this building, and I had to be really quiet, and they were coming up the stairs. It was horrible. I was even making noises in my sleep, I'm told, you know, because of a stupid, you know, nightmare. So there you go.
Excellent. Good. No, that's a sign of a good, you know, good horror TV show. I like it.
I suppose, or maybe I'm just a wuss and I shouldn't watch anything scary before bed. I don't know which one.
SpongeBob before bed. That might.
Yeah, that could be arranged.
That might be more your level, you know.
I'm in the mood for 11 questions. Bruno, do you want to do 11 questions with me?
Sure.
Okay, let's go for it.
And now, 11 questions.
Okay, number 1. What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, gosh. Fly fishing alone somewhere.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
bliss.
Nice.
Bliss.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would enjoy it, but the whole quiet thing, that does sound very healing.
So the fishing is almost secondary, you know, it's just the tranquility that does it.
The mountains or the ocean? You're going to say the ocean, right?
Ooh. I don't know. Mountains, I think, really.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah. What's your favorite lunch meat? I love this question.
Turkey.
Oh, man, you had to spoil it.
So the worst of the lunch meats.
Yeah.
we must get the buzzer for the lunch meat buzzer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just boring, it's just like, I think, and it's dry, I think, you can't really do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving along here. If it were legal to do so, would you eat human flesh?
If it was illegal to do so, no, I don't think I would eat human flesh under any circumstance.
Thank you. I'm going to start taking a poll, how many people actually say they would, because we get a lot of people that say, even if it, wasn't legal, I would still do it, and yuck, I wouldn't.
No, I'll pass. Hard pass.
Thank you. Have you ever been pulled over for a traffic violation?
Sure, who hasn't?
Right. Well, the first time it happened to me, I didn't actually realize I was being pulled over, and I was just like waving the cop around me. I was like, go around, and
No, I'm looking for you.
Yes, they had to come over. They had to come on the bullhorn thingy and say, "Ma'am, pull over," and so it's pretty embarrassing.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Android or Apple?
Apple.
Oh.
Yay.
Fine. Which franchise do you like best? Halloween, Friday the 13th, Elm Street, Hellraiser, or Saw?
I guess Friday the 13th. Gotta go with a classic.
That is a good answer. I will accept that one or Halloween. Those are my two, big there. Roller coasters, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay! Definitely.
Yeah.
Give me one interesting non-writing related fact about you.
Oh gosh. I was in the Coast Guard.
Awesome. Yeah. What is your least favorite part of the writing process?
Oh, probably editing.
Definitely.
The
I think that's one for all of us.
Yeah.
And my favorite bonus question: baseball or stamp collection?
Baseball.
Yay! Woo!
Boo!
I'm so excited. Spring training starts in what is it? I think it's 16 days. Spring training starts, and I'm really excited.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
James is excited. Yeah.
No, I'm not. No, actually, no. I'm covering up. I'm not. No, not in the least.
I am. So we're almost out of time for our first segment, Bruno. But can you tell us where we can find you online?
You can find me all over Amazon, and of course, you can go to my webpage, which is brunomillerauthor.com, and I have a newsletter there you can sign up for and stay up to speed on all the new releases coming out. Awesome. I will get your link up on the page. This series is on iTunes as well and Audible.
Excellent. You can get the entire series on there now?
Yes, the entire series of Dark Road is on there now, yeah.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Bruno. It's been hopefully you've had as much fun as we have.
I have. Thank you for having me.
Good.
Thank you, Bruno.
For joining us. Thank you. And so we're going to have to go to the break now, and we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors, sort of.
Radio Show is sponsored by Hellbound Books, purveyors of all manner of dark fiction. You can find the publisher along with links to all their available works across platforms at hellboundbookspublishing.com. Hellbound Books is proud to be the first in the indie publishing business with a very own app on both Google Play and the App Store. In the mood for something steamy to read, check out new erotica author Jennifer Lynn's website at jenniferlynnerotica.com. You can find James at his website, www.jameslongmore.com, and Xtina has an author page found on the help on the website. Don't forget to follow the Panic Room Radio Show on social media. Our Facebook page, Unofficial The Panic Room Radio Show, Twitter at Panic Room Radio, our YouTube channel, The New Panic Room Radio Show, and come visit our website at www.panicroomradio.com.
The Indians send signals from the rocks above the pass. The cowboys take position in the bushes and the grass. The squaw is with the corporal, she is tied against a tree. She doesn't mind the language, it's the beating she don't need. She lets loose all the horses when the corporal is asleep. And he wakes to find the fire's dead and arrows in his hat. And Davy Crockett rides around and says it's cool for cats, it's cool for cats. The Sweeney's doing 90 cause they've got the work to go. They get a gang of villains in a shed up at Heathrow. They're counting out the fivers when the handcuffs lock again. In and out at once with the numbers on their names. It's funny how the missus always looks a bleed insane. And meanwhile at the station there's a couple of likely lads who swear like how's your father, and they're very cool for cats, they're cool for cats. To change the mood a little, I've been posing down the pub. I'm seeing my reflection, I'm looking slightly rough. I fancy this, I fancy that, I wanna be so flash. I'll give a little muscle and I'll spend a little cash. But all I get is bitter and a nasty little rash. And by the time I'm sober I've forgotten what I've had. And everybody tells me that it's cool to be a cat, cool for cats.
Welcome back to part 2.
And we are back again. That was Angel. I have not heard that for so long. That was Squeeze and Cool for Cats again, a golden oldie from the dark and distant days of the late 70s, I believe. I just sort of replaying my childhood sort of tunes. Well before Xtina was even thought of, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Every time you request something, though, we don't have the license to play them, so we can only play what ASCAP have. So but. You can go through the ASCAP website. You have the login for that.
I know, and I have before. You played a couple of songs for me before through the years.
Well, go through it and make some requests. If they're on there, we can play them. That's why we pay for the license. That's why we have it. To be honest. But I just I don't mind going through it for stuff I want to play. But I'm not Go through your own stuff, really. Yeah, no, just do it yourself. Pretty much. I'm too busy. I'm too busy, but
yeah.
I'm a very, very busy man actually, but not as busy as this fellow.
Grab him by the pussy.
You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
So I had to play that. Obviously, we had the State of the Union address this week, as if we don't know what state he's put it in. To be honest with you, although sort of overshadowing that for me was Vladimir Putin's comment. Obviously, Trump's talking about pulling out of the nuclear treaty with Russia, and Putin's pretty much, well, he actually said, quote unquote, that there's no point speaking to Trump because he's too childish to have a meaningful conversation with, which is just like, what is going on? Well, it's funny actually. Speaking to Bruno earlier, obviously, he's apocalyptic stroke post-apocalyptic thing. It's never been more likely because we've got an absolute muppet with his finger on the button, and it's just it's worrying.
Right.
I moved here from England because England's a shitstorm anyway at the moment, and it was going down the toilet after 13 years of socialist government when I left. And I think, things are going to be, obviously, you get a little bit political here. You had Obama. I think things are looking good, and people looking up to the States, and it was brilliant. And then, of course, Trump comes along, and he's just blown it, why? Why people? Why?
Yeah, I have no idea. I still have memories of, the election, and I was watching the numbers, and no, it's not going to happen. There's no way at all. And
well, I was the same. Yeah, I stayed awake as long as I could, and I finally just fell asleep. And Hillary was an inch or two ahead, and I thought, I can sleep. Woke up at like 3 a.m. First thing, I grabbed my phone to check the news, and it was like cold chills. Like, what? No, I'm dreaming. I'm going to go back to sleep. And when I wake up, really, like in these movies where they wake up and then they've woken up, but it's in the dream, and then they wake up again. And I thought, how many times can I do? Maybe we're still in the same dream.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah.
We're still election night. Hillary's inching ahead, and this is still the dream stroke nightmare that has gone on since then. So hopefully we'll wake up and it'll be all happy. Donald Trump will have lost and gone on to build more apartments and screw people over and do whatever it is he does and what have you. And, it'll be the land of milk and honey again. So, maybe let's hope for that. Yeah, I'm gonna hinge all my hopes on that one right now. So so there's that. So anyway. So what have we I don't know what's going on. No idea. What have we got coming up next? Xtina.
Next we have horror author Bailey Day. Woo!
Are you there, Mom?
I'm really good, thank you.
Good. How are you? You're well. Thank you for joining us and whatnot.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. You're more than welcome. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kennewick, Washington, in my parents' bedroom.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
And I have to ask, where are your parents right now? Are they?
One of them is on a trip somewhere. He's a band dude, so he's going to play in a band tonight. And my mom is outside of this room listening to this interview. So, yeah.
Hello, Bailey's mum. Hello, what's your mum's name? Mrs. Bailey's mum.
That's right.
Mrs. Bailey. Well, it's funny actually. I am known as India's dad.
Really?
The only time I'm allowed out of the house really is just to accompany my young daughter to like birthday parties and school things. And I am known everywhere as India's. That is it. I have no identity. When you become a parent, your identity just goes. You are just like an appendage to the child. So. But hello, Bailey's mum. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I want to say that I believe that Bailey is one of our youngest guests. I mean, we have had India on the show, but she wasn't really a guest, I don't think. No.
But she was a presenter in many ways.
She was a presenter. But I believe that Bailey is one of our youngest guests, and I think that's you're 17, is that correct?
I am 17. That is correct.
Oh, I think back when I was 17.
I'm that old. I can't remember being 17. It's that long ago. I probably had a pet brontosaurus or something back in those days. Although, oddly enough, actually, the music that I am sort of we've been playing tonight is actually from sort of when I was around that age. So, but I have to say, Bail, before I knew your age, obviously I read the sample that you sent in, and it's certainly far better than anything I wrote at 17. You have an incredibly mature style. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I mean, how long have you been writing?
Well, I started when I was in 4th grade was when I really started seriously writing, which I know is super young. And how it happened was some kid in my 4th grade class told me, you can only write stories about little white puppies and pink bows. And I just took that so personally as little 4th grade me, and I went, I'm going to show you I can write something really scary. And so ever since then I started writing this horror stuff with monsters. And I found at 4th grade I really liked writing about monsters more than white puppies with pink bows. So I just stuck with that for a while. And finally I actually got a book published at 16 years old.
Wow. That is awesome. I love that story.
Which to be fair was only a year ago. Just to put things in perspective.
It was only a year ago. It was.
That is fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, and it came out December, so it hasn't been that long since it's been out.
Yeah, that is brilliant. So you can still do white puppies and pink bows, but have them sort of horrible things happen to them, or sort of turn into vicious monsters, or
Exactly.
I'm sure Cujo was a little white puppy with a pink bow at some point, but that all turned out unpleasantly, didn't it? But,
I know. It all changed. Jojo's different now.
That's awesome.
Who? Again, I'm just interested, obviously, from the young point of view. I mean, who influences you as a young writer?
I read a ton of books, and I still read a ton of books. I'm super into Alexander Gordon Smith. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he wrote this series called Escape from Furnace, where these boys were wrongly accused of this crime, and they're put in this prison where they're treated horribly, and it turns out the Warren of the prison is turning them into monsters and into slaves, basically, and it's a 5-book series, and it took me years to actually finish the series because it scared me so bad, and but finally I finished it. And I just sat back and I went, this is the kind of writing I hope I can do someday, where I can scare people so bad that they can't read it for a few years. I mean, I want my people to read my books, but I mean, it was just that feeling of I loved the book and I thought about it all the time, even though it took me like years in between to finish the series because it scared me so bad. So I read his stuff and I go, this is the kind of work I hope I can produce someday.
Wow. That's awesome. No, I've never heard of that author, but the book sounds really interesting.
I love his series.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger. You know, I don't think they had as much. I mean, as many options as far as you know, scary things go for younger, you know, people. I mean, they had the adult books that for, you know, and I was just getting probably, you know, a little too old for these when they came out with, like, you know, Christopher Pike and R.L. Stein. I was a huge Christopher Pike fan, though. Oh, his books were so good. And I would still read them now, you know. I mean, I was at a thrift store, and I saw one of my favorite books by him. It was called Give Me a Kiss. And, you know, I bought that, and I read it again. It was so good. Yes, exactly. But I think there's so much more out there these days, I think, for the, you know, the younger people, because,
there
you know.
There definitely is.
Yeah,
R.L. Stein keeps writing. He has so many new books out. I'm like, I hope I can be like you someday, where I could just write all these books and still get them published, even though I'm like really old.
Right. I remember his. I had a bunch of his Fear Street books. I know, like, my kids had the goosebumps, but Fear Street was pretty scary. I think they could have easily made that into one of those. Like the TV shows that they put. What?
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of. Yeah,
they had, like, the Goosebumps TV show for a while.
Yeah. My kids like that. Yeah. And when I was younger, they had something similar to that. They had two things similar to that. One was called, Freddy's Nightmares. Do you remember that, James?
I remember. I never watched it because I was never a big Nightmare. I enjoyed the first Nightmare on Elm Street film, but it just got a bit silly, and I'm always very wary of the whole spin-off things. But no, I never actually watched them. Were they as bad as I imagined?
I don't think so. I thought they were really good and creepy, but it kind of reminded me of, like, Twilight Zone, because it was something different each week. It was some different scenario, some different. And I thought it was pretty good and creepy. I really did.
I'm a massive Twilight Zone fan. Maybe I should watch. I like Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt even. I love all of that.
Yes. I would say
Twilight Zone is like my favorite series. I swear. I would watch that show like all the time.
I mean, we're talking the original 1950. Was it 58?
I watched the original Twilight. They had them all, like, on Netflix for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to play it's a bit of a family tradition for me, because the kids refuse to watch it. To spend New Year's Eve watching the old original series of Twilight. So I forget I don't even know what station it's on anymore. But I love them. I mean, I a couple of years ago watched the very first season from 50. I think it was 57. 58. It was actually, it came out before man set foot on the moon, well before, obviously. But what because of obviously budgetary restraints of the time, and obviously they didn't have the special effects and that, the writing on those shows was just incredible.
It is.
They were so well written, so tightly written that, you know, some of them, there's like one where the guy comes back and the whole town's empty, and the whole 26 most of 26 minutes were carried by one actor, and it was just so incredibly well done. You know, it's just wow.
I love that.
People don't write like that now. Yeah,
they don't. It's really unfortunate.
It is. I think one of my favourite is the Burgess Meredith one, where it's the bomb's dropped or whatever, and he's finally got time to read, and then he breaks his glasses. I mean, that's just
and he breaks his glasses. I love that one. It hurts my heart, though. I'm like, no.
Simple little story. But having said that, you know, he could just go to go to the drugstore and get some reading glasses, to be honest, because they just sell them on a rack. So it's not such a big.
How's he going to get there?
There you go, right?
There you go. Good point. If that was me, I'd just sit and just die in the library. I just die. I couldn't find it. I wouldn't know where to go, so I can't see anything.
Oh, I think it's do you? I know that you said that it was in fourth grade, and the kid said something to you about you can only write frilly, fluffy things. Do you ever read the frilly, fluffy things? I mean, I remember.
It depends. Like, I'm really not into romance. I can't stand romance novels. But I read this cozy mystery recently, which was basically a romance with a mystery mixed in it. It wasn't really a mystery like I was expecting, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't like my favorite book ever, but I didn't hate it, so I found that a good thing, And so I'm more into thriller-like books, and if I do read something thrilly, it's often like a middle grade thing that I read like when I was really little, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I love that book, and anything by Roald Dahl. He wrote Matilda and all that stuff. And so if I read anything kind of like that, it's usually for a younger audience, not for young adults or adults.
Well, I know that I have I guess these two totally different sides to me. I love horror and all things scary and stuff. But when I was younger, I was a huge fan. This is going to date me, of Sweet Valley High. I lived Sweet Valley High. I had all of the books. They had I had a calendar. I had just all sorts of things. And to this day, if I go into a bookstore, I will have to look and see, what is Sweet Valley High doing? What are they doing? And it's just I don't know. I know they create a whole world that in my mind it's real somewhere, Yeah. And that was probably the frilliest, most girliest thing ever. But I totally loved it. Yeah. But it was good. It was good. I loved it. But no. And so did we already talk about who you'd like to read? Yes, we did. Yeah. And now I have to go and get those books about the prison. To me, it sounded really good. What is your favorite monster thing to write about or to read about?
That's a good question. I really like the crazier the monster, I guess, the more I like it. I do like my classic monsters like Frankenstein's creature and the werewolves and witches and stuff. But I also like it when an author can take a monster I've never heard of before and make it super cool and explain it in a way that really is engaging. I do love it when an author can do that. Unfortunately, I'm struggling to think of something like that right now that I've read. But I know I have before. So I guess I just like all kinds of monsters, classics or urban legends or monsters you completely make up. I am for every kind of monster.
Yeah. It's so weird. I could never be a fantasy writer or any kind of science fiction because maybe I don't have the imagination to think of stuff that hasn't been done before. I mean, I'm really good, with a scenario now or something now, but I mean to actually the science fiction writers and the fantasy writers that can just make up total worlds, they just blow me away.
Really
I'm like,
hard.
It's definitely something I could never do, and I give them total props for that. That's totally cool.
I do too. My first book I wrote, not the book that is out, The Amazing Imagination Machine, but I wrote this book in fourth grade called X's World, and it was a total fantasy, and I made everything up. And I still love that book because it taught me how to write, but it was really hard to do it just because it's a completely new setting, and none of them were human. And so it was very hard to explain everything without just, info dumping it on it, like, this is what it looks like, and this is what they do. Because that's like a thing I fall into when I write those kind of genres, is I'll just have a whole paragraph just describing what it looks like or what they do, when that's really not needed to propel the story along.
Right. I want to hear more about The Amazing Imagination Machine, which I love the tagline, even nightmares can come true. And do you have a reading for us?
I do have a reading for you. I have a small section I can read right now.
Awesome. Do Do you have to set it up or anything? Or
I would like to set it up. So Jake is the main character, and his little sister's April May. They are spending the time at their Uncle Mark's house, who's a horror writer, and his Uncle Mark warned him about this toy factory across the street. But when Jake saw this old creepy doll moving around on its own, he decided to go to the toy factory with his little sister. And so this is when they go through the Amazing Imagination Machine. And when you go through the Amazing Imagination Machine, whatever you're thinking of at that time comes to life. And so this is basically where we are at the story right now. And I shall read it. Jake stepped out onto a lit basement floor, thus far the only room in the factory with working electric lights. He saw April May standing in the middle of something that looked like an airport metal detector. Beyond her was the doll, beckoning her with the piece of chalk still in its hand. Behind the toy was the weirdest machine Jake had ever seen, making loud clicks and whirring sounds. It looked like a misshapen tent from a carnival, covered in an ugly purple design of swirls and yellow lines. Emerging from two flaps was a conveyor belt, but unlike the ones upstairs, this one was moving. Contrary to the rest of the dead factory, this machine seemed busy at work. "April May!" he yelled, running up and grabbing her arm. He pulled her away from the doll, which quickly scampered away, hiding behind the machine. "We've got to go." "But Jojo!" "What about Jojo?" Suddenly the machine fell silent. Jake looked up at the huge hunk of metal, thinking that, like the rest of the factory, it had just died. But the conveyor belt started slowly moving again. The faintest sound of wheels turning made his blood run cold. The flaps on the machine fluttered, and Jake saw something right out on the belted track. It was short, standing no taller than April May, with two huge ears sticking out of the top of its head, one that belongs to a bat or a bunny, or maybe a combination of the two. Its arms were huge, and the orange fluff on the creature was outrageous. Jake recognized it immediately, taking in the huge blue eyes and bunny-like nose. He was staring directly at April May's imaginary friend. He felt his mouth go dry, his body start to shake. What was he seeing? He rubbed his eyes to make sure he was awake, and sure enough, he was still standing in the toy factory, clutching his sister's hand even tighter than before. "Jojo!" April May cried, breaking from Jake's grip, running up to the bunny-bat creature. Jojo stepped off the conveyor belt and wrapped his gigantic bear-sized arms around Jake's little sister. "April May!" Jojo's squeaky voice answered. "It's so good to see you again." Jake stood motionless, his mouth hanging open a bit. He could not believe what he was witnessing. This thing, this beast of some sort, had really just come out of that machine, and it was alive. It looked so real that Jake wondered if Jojo had ever been imaginary at all. Something behind the conveyor belt caught Jake's eye. The same hulking shadow from the upstairs door was slowly making its way around the mechanical contraption. Jake seen the machine reflect fur that coursed down its whole body. Jake watched as it raised its claws, one with razor-sharp nails, dangling them high above April May's head. He sucked in air. It was going to try and grab her. "April May! What were you doing inside that machine, Jojo?" April May asked, ignoring her brother. "Oh, you know, hanging around." "April, May, June," Jake demanded, picturing the toy master as the thing eased towards his little sister, ready to pounce and snatch her up. He looked up at him, but was too entranced by Jojo to notice the shadow behind her. Jake started toward his sister, but stopped as he passed through the peculiar metal detector, a light flashing through the whole room. It was as if someone was taking a flash photograph, the light disappearing just as quickly as it had come. Immediately, the machine started clicking, whirring, and banging even harder than before. He paused for a moment, rubbing his eyes, waiting for the spots in his vision to clear up. "You okay, Jake?" "No," he answered. "Now, come on." "What were you thinking when you walked through the machine?" Jojo asked him, his hands still attached to April May's. "What?" "The thingy, the metal doorway thingy," Jojo said as he pointed at the Fox Airport metal detector. "What were you thinking of?" The machine stopped abruptly. There was a pause like before, and then the conveyor belt started turning again, pushing something else out through the flaps of the odd circus tent. Jake saw a fancy black suit with a cape that hit the ground. He saw a red cravat along with a weird pair of three-lensed crimson goggles that hung around the thing's neck. It wore a top hat that cast a shadow over its face. Everyone was silent, and the thing didn't move. It merely stood there. Jake wondered if it was even alive. The creature lifted its head. Jake took a step back when he saw the cracked porcelain skin that now revealed patches of disgusting pink flesh pulsing with blue veins. The face wore a terrible smile, but the worst part was the three eyes. One looked like it had broken off, revealing metallic insides. Another looked normal, but with a pupil that was far too small. The last blinked from yellow to blue to red. Yellow, blue, red. Yellow, blue, red. The thing laughed horribly deep in its throat. It was so soft, yet Jake could hear it all around him. From behind, from above, from below. It was as if his whispering voice was all-encompassing, causing Jake to freeze to his spot. Jake knew this monster. It was the Toy Master, and he looked exactly like how Jake had pictured him. Jake couldn't move as the creature stepped off the conveyor belt, coming straight for him. It seemed insanely tall, bending down until it was face-to-face with him. The creature smiled wider. Jake saw the rotten teeth hiding behind cracked and bleeding lips. "Do you know how the silly song goes, Jake?" the Toy Master asked him in a low, sing-song voice, drawing out his words. Jake could feel every part of him quaking, but his legs wouldn't move. He needed to move. Why couldn't he move? Toyland, Toyland, little girl and boyland. Once you passed its borders, the Toy Master stood up to his full height, unbuttoned his suit coat, and ripped open his shirt. Jake's stomach flipped over as the same creepy doll came squirming out of the Toy Master's chest, and then another, and another. As the toys rushed out, Jake suddenly remembered what his legs were meant for. He spun around, grabbing April May's hand from JoJo, racing toward the staircase. The blinking light turned to red, flooding the room with a deadly crimson light. The Toy Master lifted his hands, thrusting them towards Jake, crying, "You can never return again." The dolls scrambled wildly, hundreds filling the room, covering everything that Jake could see. He saw them writhing on the stairs, the walls, and even the ceiling. He screamed, hearing April May follow suit, but both of them failed to drown out the Toy Master's hideous laugh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so
good. No, carry on. Carry on.
I'm sorry,
Brilliant.
I have more in front of me.
Oh, that's rubbish.
That was
no, I was there. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you a little bitty secret. There are some times during the excerpt reading, I take the time to, hurry up and see if there's anything I need to attend to real quick. If anybody's, message me something important, in my mind, I couldn't stop listening. I was like, wow.
Well, that's good.
Yes, that was so good.
Thank you.
In my mind, I keep saying, and she's only 17.
I have to say, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I can certainly see the influence of Roald Dahl in that. I mean, that's that's there, isn't it? That's, I'm a big fan, obviously being from England, as I say I grew up on Roald Dahl. My kids grew up on Roald Dahl as well.
Yep.
So. That's brilliant. So, I mean, is this going to be is part of a series, or what's next for you?
When I wrote this book, I didn't plan for it to be a series, but when I was pitching to my editors for the first time, they asked me, do you have an idea for a sequel? And at the time, I thought no. And when I went home after that conference where I met them, I kept thinking, if I did have to write a sequel, what would it be about? So I have actually written a sequel for this one. It's in, desperate need of editing right now, though, and I've put it away in the drawer for, a little bit because I just can't look at it right now and find out how to fix it. So there is going to be a sequel, hopefully, but not for a while, and I'm just working on other stuff right now while I'm still pondering the sequel and trying to figure out how to fix it.
Well,
I don't think we've met any writer yet. Certainly not any writer on the show yet who said, "Oh, I love editing. It's the best part of the job." Because it's not. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It is. Especially, I think, doing it, editing your own work, or even deciding what goes and what stays. I do not understand that. I follow these. They're twins that I read a series that they have published, and they talk about reading their through their stuff and deciding well, they're going to cut the scene because it doesn't do anything for the story, or I do not understand how people can do this. I don't think I've ever cut a scene out of anything I've ever written. To me, I mean, that's like, I wrote it for a reason. It's staying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I find it. I can edit other people's work, not a problem, because I'm not emotionally invested. Like you say, I've written, even if it's a page, I've written that page, so it's staying. Because at the time, it obviously, if it wasn't part of the story, I wouldn't have written it. But there's the old saying, kill your darlings. You have to be brutal with it. And take the big picture view. Take that step back. I think as Bailey said, stick it in a drawer for a week, 2 weeks, a month, however long it takes, and then come back to it with fresh eyes. Because sometimes, I have had to do that, and I'm sure Bailey's done that as well. We've all done that. Sooner or later, you have to. Take the big pair of scissors out and chop chunks out.
Yeah.
For the sake of the story.
I recently wrote a draft that when I finished writing it, it was 1,200,000 words long, and I went, this is way too long. And so I've had my mom read it, and I'm like, I don't know what needs to go. I'm like, I just wrote this, and I love every word of it, but I don't know what needs to go. But obviously it's so long. I'm like, something needs to go. And so we've been working on it to get it smaller, and we're still above 100,000, which really sucks, because it's like I'm trying to get down to at least 95, so, like someone might actually take it, but it's just so long right now, and it's really hard when you look through something to know what needs to go and what truly needs to stay.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I don't, because to me, I just go, hey, this is either a really, really, really long book, or, let's make it a series.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, it could be, you could split it into 2 novels, and and do it that way. But it can, it is. Although, when you have to, I mean, that's what I as Xtina will testify, when my early short stories are anything but. But that is a good discipline. If you've got 5,000, 8,000, whatever words to write and to get your story down, it's a great discipline to get into, because you have to.
Yeah.
And I've written short stories that have been like 14,500 words long, and I've got to get those down to seriously. I mean, get those down to even 8 or 9, and you have to be brutal. But
you do.
As an exercise in editing and paring it down, because you can still tell when you've done it, the story is tighter, but your story's still there, and you think, it's a great sense of achievement.
It is.
Although sometimes you go the other way and think, stuff it, I'm just going to expand it. This is going to be a novel, So either way.
Yeah. No, I was thinking, James, that Kevin Kennedy's 100-word travels, that?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was such a cool idea, and I actually submitted to the first volume, and he came back to me, and he was like, this is really good, but it's just a scene. It's not a story. My mind was like, what? Because I don't think I can do it. I really don't. I was like, I thought it was a great scene, but he was right. It wasn't a story, but I don't know.
I managed to get into the first one, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. 100 words. It's going to be dead on 100 words. I'm actually, of course, in the second one, of course. Now I've got the hang of it now.
She's a robot voice. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna. We should give the robot voice a name, and I should just introduce him every time when he starts to do the robot voice. It's become just a part of the show now. It's only the last couple of minutes that it always happens. So
I was wondering.
I know. It's just about time for our show to be over with, and I had so much fun with you. You have to promise to come back and see us again.
All right, I would love to.
Awesome. I will definitely be stalking you. And for our listeners, can you tell us where we can find you online?
You can find me at authorbaileyday.com, and also on Facebook I go by Author Bailey Day, and that's the same with Twitter and Instagram, and those are the things I do, and you can find me there and contact me there, and yeah.
Awesome. I will get your links put up on our Facebook page, so if anybody else wants to stalk you, they can go there and do it. And again, I thank you so much for coming on the show, and I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
And this is the time of the night when James would tell me to say good night, Xtina. So good night, Xtina.
Good night.
Pretty women out walking with gorillas down my street. From my window I'm staring while my coffee goes cold. Look over there, there's a lady that I used to know. She's married now or engaged or something, so I'm told. Is she really going out with him? Is she really gonna take him home tonight? Is she really going out with him? 'Cause if my eyes don't deceive me, there's something going wrong around here. Tonight's the night when I go to all the parties down my street. I wash my hair and I kid myself, I look real smooth. Look over there, there, here comes Jeannie with her new boyfriend. They say the looks don't count for much, so there goes your proof.